Okay, problem number 45 on the UALR final exam review for college algebra. We're asked to find the domain of the logarithmic function and enter the answer using interval notation, where h of x is ln of x plus 1. Recall that what's inside the log has to be greater than 0. You can't have ln of 0. You can't have ln of a negative number, because ln is log base e, and that means we're looking for the power of e that gives us a number inside. You can't raise the number e, which is a positive irrational number, to a power and get a negative number. You can't raise it to a power and get 0. So the domain of a logarithmic function is take what's inside, make it greater than 0, and solve that inequality. So x must be greater than -1. We're asked to enter that in interval notation. Remember how we do that. If we have a number line where -1 is an endpoint not included, and we shade the area greater than -1, that interval is parentheses -1. We always start with the lowest value on the interval and goes to infinity, and we always put infinity with parentheses. So -1 to infinity, not including -1. So let's find the x-intercept. The x-intercept is the x value when y is 0. So h of x is y, so we're going to set h of x equal to 0 and solve this problem for x. Here we have a logarithmic equation that we can set to exponential form. The base of this logarithm is e. And recall from what we said before, if we have e to the x equals b, then ln b equals x. Well, here we have ln of something equals 0. So we can switch from this form to this form. Means we can also switch from this form to this form, where we say the base of the logarithm raised to the power on the outside equals what's inside. E raised to 0 equals x plus 1. E raised to 0 equals x plus 1. Well, e to the 0 power is just 1. Since 1 equals x plus 1, and we subtract 1 from both sides, and we get x equals 0. So the x-intercept here is the point 0, 0. So let's find the vertical asymptote. The vertical asymptote is going to be the endpoint of the domain. So this is just going to be x equals -1. Sketch the graph of the logarithmic function. We're going to graph this now, looking at, looks like we got standard windows -10 to 10, x and y's. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to put my y equal as my function ln x plus 1. Oops, I thought I cleared that. Now I'm going to zoom 6, because that's going to graph it in a standard window when I do zoom 6. And so there. Now remember, your calculator cannot handle this function. It gets so steep so fast when it goes to that vertical asymptote that your calculator can't enter all these values. So it just looks like the graph stops. Your calculator can't handle this function. You have to know that this logarithmic function, the range is from -infinity to infinity. That means it continues going down here, even though you can't see it. But -1 is the vertical asymptote. The graph continues. Your calculator just can't handle it. But this looks like, going to the origin, it looks like this function is going to be it. We're going to double check that. Definitely not this one, because it doesn't go through the origin. Definitely not this one, because it doesn't go through the origin. This one most certainly doesn't look like the graph of our function, so it is that first graph that we thought it was. And that's how we do number 45.